What's up, my people? We are live. I'm literally going live today, Saturday, because as you guys know, we're doing 3 uploads a week right now, and you guys seem to be liking the upload schedule. Monday is most definitely going to smash Monday. Wednesday is going to be winning at Live Wednesday, and Fridays is fucking A. It's Q&A Friday. I'm going to have to go back and bleep out that curse word because we get demonetized every time we say the F word in these videos now. YouTube algorithm problems. Anyways, what's up, everybody watching? If you're coming into the live stream, this is going to be the Friday video for this week. We're a day late. I know I literally have just been so busy with the upcoming boot camp, interviewing guys who are interested with James, who's on my team as well, to where I don't even have time to get the video from yesterday edited and uploaded it today. So I'm going to do it live. So this is the advantage of me doing it live this week, is that not only do I have questions prepared for you, look at this, if you can see with the lighting, boom, questions, but because you're live, if you come on the live stream, I can actually get your guys' questions in real time as well, so that's the advantage of doing this live. So let's get started. Rudely F. Butts. This is going to be the third week this guy has ended up on a freaking A is Q&A Friday. Loic Legacy. Dude, I love that you're the first one to like the video. You're going to be the first of many, hopefully. So, Rudely F. Butts, this is the third week he's made it on to freaking A is Q&A Friday. So, congratulations, man. Taking action, asking the right questions, showing up each week, and you get some shine time. So, he asked, if a girl hasn't shit tested you, is it bad? She seems interested in me. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from her. So, to answer your question, man, there's two ways to think about this. And here's the thing, because this question is so short and I'm going to rapid fire answer it, right? And because it's kind of out of context, I don't really know much about the situation, but I will tell you kind of just from an outside perspective looking in, how to think about shit tests. First off, shit tests are good. When a girl tests you, if she's trying to poke holes in your frame, if she teases you in a playful way, even if it doesn't seem like if it's in a playful way, if she's teasing you at all and you're trying to attract her and this is like a flirtatious type of interaction. I'll get to your question, Loke, in a second. The first school of thought is that it's good that a woman is testing you, because think about it. If a bum walks up to you on the street and tries to make fun of you, are you going to care that much? No. If a bum walks up to you on the street, are you going to do anything to try to test him or poke holes in his frame? Probably not, unless you're an asshole, right? And so if a girl's testing you, just know that it's because she sees you as someone who's a potential sexual partner, someone who she could potentially have some chemistry with. And the reason why is because if you're portraying yourself to be this confident, charming guy, but she can't quite tell if this is truly who you are, and she's just trying to figure it out for herself. If you truly are that alpha, dominant, leading, charming, charismatic dude, and not saying you have to be alpha by any means to attract women. I think guys misconstrue the word alpha, which is why I tend to not use it that often. Then it's actually a good thing, because it means she's still trying to figure you out, and you can work with that. You can use that using a lot of the ways that I teach in my book, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl, to overcome this test and actually use that as a moment to spike her attraction for you in the moment. Now, that said, if she's not testing you, this could also be the exact opposite side of the spectrum, to where she doesn't see you as a sexual threat at all. She sees you in the same light, or in no better light than she would the homeless guy who's begging her for money on the street. So, without knowing the context of the situation with your girl, you said it seems like she's interested in you. I would challenge you on that to go a little bit further. What do you mean that it seems like she's interested? Does it seem like she's interested simply because she's having platonic, friendly conversation with you? Then in that case, that doesn't really mean much of anything, because she could have that same conversation that maybe might seem like she's interested with a friend that she has zero interest in having sex with. So think about if there's any actual sexual tension between you two, and if there is, if she's not testing you, then that means that she's probably just assuming the attraction for you. And I'll say this, the reason why I'm giving so many answers to this one question about testing or getting tests from girls is simply because as you get better at game and as you start to improve yourself, you're gonna go through a phase where at the beginning, where you're trying things that to attract women, to create tension in the conversation that you're not used to doing. And because this is something that's new to you, when you do it, it's not gonna be 100% congruent to you. It might be 90% congruent to you because you practice it and you do it in the ways that we teach on these videos, right? And so you'll start to get results, but women will also start to test you, and you'll notice this a lot towards the beginning. Now, as you start to get better at attracting women and your game gets better and better and better, and you get more and more success with women, over time, eventually you'll reach a point to where women don't even test you that much anymore. And if they do, it's like a very, very small test, and they almost don't even fully test you. They kind of like, they're pulling their punches a little bit. They kind of like hesitate before they test you, because by that point, everything you do, all the things that we teach and talk about in my videos or even in my book, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl, those become so congruent to who you are, and you're just that way naturally with everybody, that she can already assume that you are that charismatic, charming guy, in which case she's not going to end up testing you. So think about where you are on your progression of getting good with women and your ability to attract women and create tension with women in conversation, and think about what are the actual signs that you're seeing from this girl. And that right there is where the answer to your question comes in. So I know that I was supposed to rapid fire answer that question, but hey, it took me 6 minutes. Screw it. Let's move on to the next question. By the way, let's see if you guys, so Loic, he says, how to reach abundance of girls. You keep showing up, you keep taking action, and when everybody else doesn't believe in you and you're not seeing any results, keep believing in you, keep showing up, keep taking action, keep swinging the bat, and you will eventually hit it out of the park. Does that make sense? All right. That's how you get better with and build an abundance of girls, all right? And also, the way you do, I truly believe this, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right? So think about where else in your life, not just in your dating life, do you lack abundance? And I'm not saying where you actually have fewer than you actually want to. For example, if you're eating lunch today, you happen to be really hungry and you have one sandwich, but you really want 2 sandwiches, that does not mean you're in scarcity of sandwiches, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about big things that give people anxiety on a regular basis. Things like money, finances. If you have a scarcity mentality with your money, you're also going to find it hard for you to have an abundance mentality with women, right? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you can get to a place to where you're just an abundance-minded person everywhere, right? If a girl rejects you, you're like, fuck it. She was probably disqualified anyways. There's a million other women in this city alone for me to talk to, right? So that's an abundance mindset. Or you think to yourself, man, that book, it costs $7 for shipping and handling to get Patrick's book. That's bullshit. Why isn't it $5 like on Amazon, right? Scarcity mentality, right? Scarcity mentality. Do you have a victim mentality? Do you have a scarcity mentality in one area? Because if you do, that's going to seep and translate and decrease your ability to have that abundance mentality with women. So I challenge you, my man, who's asking this question, Loic, I believe, right? If you want to develop abundance with women, 1, take a lot of fucking action, more action than anybody you know. 2, keep improving yourself. And 3, really be self-aware of your scarcity mentality in other areas of your life, because if that exists, it's going to hurt you in your dating life. I promise you that. All right, next question. This one actually came from Gabil to Rest 3 days ago. He said, Q&A Friday question. I used to be really good at approaching girls back in high school, but then when college came, it was a different story. I can't approach any girl and I'm having social anxiety. Any tips that you can give me to approach the girl easier? Dude, I got a lot of tips for you to approach girls easier. But first thing, one observation I want you to think about real quick is, all right, you say you used to be really good at approaching women back when you were in high school, all right? Why is this? And think about conversely at the same time, why do you feel anxiety to approaching girls? All right, because I know the answer and I want you to come to the conclusion yourself. The reason why you have anxiety when approaching girls in college or an environment that you're not used to, or an environment where you know literally 0 people at, the reason why is because in that environment, you don't know who here knows each other. And you don't know who here is the alpha of the pack. You don't know if they have a leader, or if this girl has a boyfriend who's in the bathroom who's about to come out and beat the shit out of you because you're talking talking to his woman, right? And so the anxiety comes from an ingrained fear of getting outcast from the group. This is called the in-group versus the out-group bias in psychology, right? And everybody wants to be in the in-group. And if you're on the out-group, or AKA you don't know anybody in this group and you don't know if this is a group that they all know each other, well, if you do something to stand out or to make yourself seem like a potential risk to the group, AKA trying to take their women by approaching their women, then you're gonna feel a natural anxiety, because that deep ingrained need for survival that's literally wired into your DNA is gonna say, hey man, we're uncertain about this situation. Maybe we shouldn't approach this girl, right? And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you said you had no problem approaching girls in high school, but now that you're in college and now that you're an adult, you have problems. Why? Because back in high school, you knew everybody. You knew the social hierarchies and where you fit into that, and you knew what you could and couldn't get away with. And more importantly, you knew that the worst case scenario, you knew that nobody here was going to touch you or kill you or beat the shit out of you just for talking to a girl that you were interested in, because you probably already knew what her situation was. So my advice to you is, one, to realize that that deep ingrained fear that's causing you to feel this anxiety, that's causing you to pull your punches when you go up and attract or approach a girl, doesn't really have much real world translations, right? You're not actually gonna get beat over the head with a club by a random caveman who's hiding around the corner just because you're talking to his cave woman, right? That's very likely not gonna happen. And in fact, I've approached thousands upon thousands of girls in the 5+ years that I've been a coach alone, and then the 4+ years that I was doing game before that, right? And not once have I gotten into a fight, knock on wood, regarding approaching a girl. Not once. I think on maybe 2 or 3 occasions I've had a girl curse me out or cuss me out for maybe saying a teasing line or something like that. But even in those situations, it was so out of the norm and so over the top dramatic that I had no choice but to laugh. I was like, is this really happening right now? Right? So I promise you, your worst fears that when it comes to attracting women or approaching women are likely never going to happen. And so my advice to you is to, one, realize that and call yourself out on that in the moment if you catch yourself fearing the uncertainty of approaching a girl. But 2, follow the 3-second rule. The 3-second rule has been around for at least 2 decades, right? People have been teaching it for decades. I'm not the first one by any means to teach the 3-second rule, but it's literally when you see a girl you want to approach, you give yourself 3 seconds between the idea and the act, right? When you take your first step, you literally in your mind or even out loud helps a lot. Out loud, literally see a girl, you go, fuck, 3, 2, 1. And just like a fucking rocket launching into orbit, by the time you get down to 1, you're going to be taking that first step. And when you take the first step, the second step becomes way easier and the third step becomes way easier. And by pretty soon you're halfway over there. And then eventually you realize that she notices that you're coming towards her. Now you can't stop walking towards her. And my only advice to you in that moment is do not try to plan out your first line. My advice, my challenge to you is to keep walking over to her, whether it's a 20-foot walk or a 2-foot walk. Get her attention and say the first thing that pops into your head when you lock eye contact with her, when you get her attention, all right? That's my challenge to you. Okay, let's look at some of these questions that are coming in because I see a lot of them. Michael Driven, hey Patrick, do you have any advice for going to college? And there is a specific girl, but she is in a group with a few girls, and I feel like she is being led by the leader, like what she picks. She also picks the same type of guy. Here's the thing, man. I will be the first to admit, one, I'm like 29 years old, dude, and I'm about to turn 30 in like 7 months, right? And so I graduated college at 22, and the last 2 years of my college experience were me not going out as much as I should have because I was trying to get straight 4.0s so I can get into dental school, which, long story short, I got into dental school. I got 4 or 5 4.0s in a row in college. That way I could have a competitive GPA, get accepted into dental school, move out to Arizona for dental school, drop out of dental school after 1 year to become a dating coach. And now I'm a dating coach who's been doing this for a long time. And now I'm talking to you on the phone. So here's the thing, man. I will be the first to say that I don't necessarily enjoy gaming in places like, for example, ASU, real close. I don't necessarily like going to a college campus if I'm not in college because I know that college is where social circle game thrives. After college and outside the college town, that social circle has no importance to you and it gives you zero leverage. Unless your social circle is so good that everybody there fucking goes off and creates a bunch of awesome things and now they're a high status social circle for you. But in college specifically, if a girl is into frat boys, she's the type of girl who's into frat boys, period. If a girl's into athletes and you're not an athlete, the second she realizes you're not an athlete, she's done talking to you, period, right? And so that's my experience with girls in college. Now that said, if you catch them in an environment where they don't feel like they're in the group and you're not in the group and you're not her type of guy, her the frat guy, or in the frats that she likes, or the frats that she's allowed to talk to because she's a sorority girl, right? If you take her outside of that little niche environment, then all that doesn't apply, right? And everything we talk about on these videos in my book does apply. So my advice to you is build up your social status on your college campus. That way, when you do approach the girl, you already have the status necessary and your game doesn't even have to be that good to get the girls. Now, here's the thing, man. This is it's not just me making shit up, right? This is me from experience of me not getting girls in college and then me living in Arizona to where we have the club city in Scottsdale. We have Phoenix, which is more of like the good for day game and stuff. And Scottsdale is great for day game as well. But then in Tempe, it's a college town, right? And there's a lot of college girls. There's a lot of athletes. There's a lot of sorority girls, fraternity guys, right? My experience is I'll have clients who I work with who are local who went to ASU and they had a lot of success at ASU because they were in the they were in the frats, they were in the they were friends with the sororities, they were athletes, they had the social circle thing going for them. But as soon as they graduated and left that environment, all bets are off the window and they realize, oh shit, my game isn't actually as good as I thought it once was. Maybe I need to improve this stuff. So I kind of feel like I'm just going off on a tangent because I didn't really understand your question, but that's just my just verbal, brain dump onto you about college and how the highest leverage point for you if you're in a college town is to build up your social circle and your social status within that niche of a college town. And that's where you're going to see the most success. But that said, if you really want amazing results, because here at Raw Dating Advice, we don't just settle for average, we don't just settle for the minimum viable options. We want to be the best, right? We want to have legendary game. And so for you to develop legendary game, I would say 1, build up your social circle, but 2, build that on a foundation of good actual fundamental game. Because if you have good game and you apply that to building a badass social circle, that right there is how you really win at life. That's where you can create whatever type of life you want completely by your design. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So I see a lot of questions coming in. Let me see what you guys are saying. I might just do the live stream questions and not the actual questions we had planned today. All right. Ignacio, what to do if she ghosted me for 2 or 3 weeks, then contacted me afterwards and pretended that nothing had happened? Ignacio, here's my observation based on your question. A girl didn't text you for 2 to 3 weeks. You seemed like you liked this girl, right? And it seemed like because she wasn't texting you back and she wasn't hitting you back, you were like, what the fuck? Oh, I thought we had something good going. I thought she liked me. Does she not like me anymore? And because she was distancing herself away, it kind of made you more mentally committed. You were investing more thought, energy into this situation. And here's the thing. It's the law of energy rationale, right? The more energy, the more thought you invest into one thing, the more you value that one thing, right? And it's just commitment, consistency. There's a bunch of different names for it, right? But the more energy you invest into something, the more you value it. And the more you think about this girl, you really put yourself into emotional quicksand to where it's a downward spiral because now you're more committed to her. You're more outcome dependent on her. You're more needy about her. And the next time she comes to you, because you've been thinking about her nonstop, probably losing sleep about this one girl, this one fucking girl. Now when she hits you back 2 to 3 weeks later, you're like, what the fuck? Where the fuck were you for the last 2 to 3 weeks, right? And you don't want to be in that position because now you look like the guy who doesn't have very many options. You look like the guy who lives in scarcity with women, and she doesn't want to be your only option. Women don't want to be your fucking one true soulmate when she has no idea who the fuck you are and knows nothing about you, right? That's a good fantasy that women strive for, right? And it's good in the Hollywood movies, but fact of the matter is, you're just a dude she texts 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now she just reached out back out to you. And in reality, from her point of view, she doesn't really care. Like this has no bearing on her interest in you. But because you were so mentally trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, that's where she is gonna realize this guy's needy and I don't want this, right? And so actually what I would recommend you do, my man, is don't even let's forget about this chick for now and let's work on getting you out of scarcity so that way when she does come to you, one, you don't freak out if she doesn't talk to you for 2 to 3 days, but two, she doesn't see the neediness on you. It doesn't repel her away like, bad BO, right? Bad BO and neediness is almost, I would say neediness is even worse than having bad BO, than worse than having bad breath. Neediness is the most repelling scent known to man. All right, so get out of scarcity, and I would really recommend you make it a mission to go fuck 10 other women before the end of 2019. And if you can do that, I promise you're going to get the results that you want, whether it's with this one girl or by that time, you're going to be a completely different person anyways by the time you fuck 10 other women from now, right? Because that person is no longer going to be in scarcity. And at that point, you're going to have the option to choose, do I want to go back and see this other girl who I thought about 6 months ago but haven't thought much of since? Or do I want to just pursue these other women who I happen to meet because I went on this mission to improve myself and go develop abundance with women, and now I don't even care about these that one girl back then because these girls are so much better than I ever thought I could do for myself. And I'm telling you this from personal experience because I literally got into game in my early 20s because of the fact that 2 girls in a row that I had liked had friend zoned me, and it wasn't just like I fell into their friend zone. It was like I had confessed my feelings and they had crushed my heart by ripping out and saying, I don't want anything to do with you, right? It hurt. And ironically, when I had gone out and I had actually developed a little bit of abundance with women and I had started improving myself and improving my ability to break rapport with girls, tease girls, challenge girls, qualify them, get them chasing me, and I had abundance and I had options now, ironically, both of those girls wanted me. The first one ended up hitting me up the next time I came back in town because, I moved west, right? And then I went back home for like a holiday or something back to Kansas. She hit me up and we hung out and I realized I don't even want this girl anymore. And then the second girl, she still follows me on Instagram to this day. And this is proof that if you just go out and improve yourself, the girls that you're worried about right now, you're not going to be worried about by the time you actually are further along on your journey. And in fact, they're going to want you more than you want them. And that's just like the ultimate reward, isn't it? So hopefully that answers your question and gives you a little bit more clarity on this situation. I got a question here. So this is more of a comment. Jan H, he said, lots of girls don't care to be qualified. I get a lot that give one-word answers. I'm going to challenge you on that one, Jan, because personal experience, a lot of girls don't mind being qualified. In fact, most people will end up qualifying themselves if they just talk enough, right? More than anything, if you can just get a girl to start talking a lot in conversation and investing a lot of just like verbal energy into this conversation, eventually she's going to just start qualifying herself because people naturally are just so self-absorbed and so self-obsessed. And this isn't a bad thing. This is just human nature. Our most favorite topic to talk about is ourselves. And so the more you can get a girl investing into the conversation, the more she's just naturally going to talk about herself. And if we're talking about ourselves, obviously we're not going to talk about ourselves that paints us in a negative light. We're going to be doing everything we can to hype ourselves up, right? Even if it's just subtly. So if a girl says, oh yeah, I'm just like the type of person who's like so adventurous, I just like meeting new people. Well, if she's trying to sell you on, good features about her, that's her qualifying herself. Even if she tells you a story about this one time she went to Disneyland with her friends and she had an awesome, amazing time. Well, what do you think on the underlying things that she's trying to convey to you about her from that one story about the one time she went to Disneyland? She's trying to convey that I have friends, I do awesome things, I enjoy things like Disney, I enjoy roller coasters, right? But these are all just subtle ways that she's qualifying herself to you. Now that said, I don't want you to be so like obsessed with the topic of qualifying that you're like, oh, she's qualifying to me. Oh my God. And I'm never going to qualify myself. In reality, I just talked about this in my private coaching group, Legendary Game, where we talked about high value connection. And high value connection comes down to two things. It comes down to one, me, you conversation. When two people are in a seduction with each other, when they're trying to seduce each other, you'll often find that the topic of conversation relates to me, you, and us. Right? Anytime we're talking about other things that kind of deviates away from the seduction, obviously it happens, but you're always bringing it back to center, which is me, you, and us, right? And so that's one aspect of high value connection. But the other aspect of high value connection is story threading, where you guys are literally just threading your stories together and sharing stories back and forth. And that's how two people build that high value connection. Obviously, if you've been following Raw Dating Advice for any period of time, you know high value connection comes after you've created sexual tension, because tension has to be the foundation of what that connection is built upon. Now, that said, the more you share stories about you, obviously you're going to start qualifying yourself a little bit too, but you're doing it as a reward for her qualifying to you first, right? You always want her to be going first. That way it looks like and feels like to her that she's the one seducing you. So if you're not getting girls to qualify to you right now, Jan, who made that comment, girls don't like to be qualified, I would challenge you on that and just say that the girls who are giving you one-word answers when you're trying to qualify them simply aren't attracted to you. There's no reason for them to invest in you. They aren't interested in this conversation yet. So work on your ability to create sexual tension with women and actually get them attracted to you first before you start story threading, me-you conversation, trying to build that connection with her and find commonalities with her. And I promise you, your life is going to transform from just that one piece of advice I've just given you now. All right. I'm going to do two more questions. All right. So if you have a question that you want answered, leave it right now. I'm going to do two questions for you guys who are on live right now. Let me look. All right. Fabian, do I need to ask this girl to be my girlfriend before she leaves back to Cali? Or do I leave it as is? We already had sex and connected in many ways. Good vibes so far. Fabian, I mean, really, this comes down to your personal life choice, right? My opinion on how you should pursue a relationship with a girl is completely irrelevant to your life, because your life is ultimately your life and not my life. So do you want this girl to be your one ride or die awesome woman who supports you on your path, who you can enjoy going on all these adventures with, and you enjoy having good sex with her? If so, and you feel like she's in a similar headspace to you, then great, pursue that relationship. I know from my personal experience and the experience of guys who have actually come to me for coaching, I know that long distance relationships are going to more often than not fail, simply because a lot of that sexual intention that you can only build when you're in front of someone face to face is going to end up dying. And if your sexual tension is here and then she moves away and you try to make the long distance thing happen and that sexual tension dies, obviously the relationship is going to struggle, right? And so if you really want this girl to be your one girlfriend, sure, have that conversation with her. I would also make it in a way to where it also feels like she's an active participant in making this conversation happen. You don't want to be the sole person who's like, hey, I really like you. Let's make this mutual. I want you to be my girlfriend, right? I want you to make sure that she's in a similar space to you and feels similarly to you. That way, when the conversation naturally, organically comes up, that way it's like two people having a mutual conversation rather than one person trying to force this conversation on the other person, if that makes sense. But secondly, if you truly are going to go that route, do everything you can to see her in person as much as you can. That way that sexual tension actually still thrives rather than dies, if that makes sense. And if that makes any sense, let me know by giving me a like. These likes really motivate me to continue delivering good gold nuggets for you. All right, so one last question for you guys. By the way, while this last question is coming in, a lot of you guys have been asking us via email about the upcoming boot camp in September. I will say, literally, the reason why I'm filming this video live rather than editing it and uploading it is because we've been so busy with getting guys qualified and making sure we get the right 30 guys at this boot camp that I literally haven't even had time to film and then edit and upload. So that's why we're doing this Q&A live. So if you're interested in coming to this, send an email to rawdatingadvice at gmail.com, and just let us know that you're interested in the September boot camp, and we'll give you the details you need to make sure that you're one of the right 30 guys who are coming to this event. More than half of the spots have already been filled up. So don't procrastinate on this. If you're interested, shoot an email to rawdatingadvice@gmail.com and let us know if you're interested, and we will shoot you the details you need to make sure that you're the right guy to be at this event. All right, so one more question. This is is that Jurassic Park that I'm whistling? All right, so Antar Das. How do I override my brain? How do I override my brain, which overrides the 3-second rule? Antar, not a good question. Just take advice on the 3-second rule and stop giving yourself opportunities to not approach the girl. Because here's the thing, man. All right, I actually like this question, because I can deliver a lot of value with this. If you feel like your brain is overriding your ability to let the 3-second rule work for you, you're making approaching women out to be way bigger of a deal than it needs to be. I'm telling you that right now. And I'll give you an example. One of my best friends, this guy, he unfortunately, he doesn't have to create a lot of wealth for himself. He doesn't need a job. He's able to live his life doing whatever he wants because he's just naturally grown up in abundance. His parents were rich. His parents had a big house, right? And he just kind of lives a life and kind of does whatever he wants because he's got money naturally, right? And I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. That's more just the way he likes to live his life, right? And I remember I was visiting him for the first time in Las Vegas in 2016 and 2017. I think I went to Las Vegas like 20 times, which is crazy just because it's like 4-hour drive away. So I just drive to his house like every other weekend, right? And I went there, and he has a ginormous house, and he has a Tesla, he has a Porsche, he has a BMW, and we drove his Porsche to the gym. We're gonna go to work out before going out on the Vegas Strip that night. And I was like, dude, this Porsche is badass. Like, do you drive this everywhere? Do you drive this to the gym every day? And he said, Patrick, chill. It's just a Porsche. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, just think about it like this. It's not a Porsche, it's just a logo on a car, and it's the car in reality is just really small and hard to get into and out of, right? And so that was a light bulb moment for me because I realized that I was making this fucking tiny ass car out to be a bigger deal than it actually was. I was thinking, dang, this is a Porsche, it's a sign of status, right? When in reality, it's just a tiny car that's hard to get into and out of. So in your head, if the 3-second rule doesn't work for you, or if you still can't approach a girl and see if she's even someone that you'd want to bring into your life anyways, then in reality, you don't value yourself enough to take action. Because if you can't even approach the girl, then you're not even in the game, right? A lot of the stuff that we talk about doesn't even apply to you unless you're able to break the ice with this girl, whether that's getting introduced to her or you just go up and create your own destiny by starting the conversation yourself. And so don't call it approaching women. Oh, I got to do this approach thing. I got to schedule time in my day to go out and approach women today. It's not that. And in fact, if it is that for you, you're making it out to be way bigger of a deal than it actually is. Let's call a spade here. Just like I called a spade when I realized that a Porsche is just a tiny car that's hard to get into and out of, right? Approaching women is simply seeing a girl that you find attractive and you want to go up and see if she's actually cool in real life. You're just going up and starting a conversation with someone that you don't know yet, right? And so if you can't even do that, one, stop making it out to be a bigger deal than it actually is, but two, realize that until you actually get over this hurdle, you're not even in the game. And let me ask you right now, do you want to be a fucking extra in the movie of your life, or do you want to be the main fucking character, right? Because right now, if you picture yourself in the fucking social setting where you see the hot girl, well, here's the thing. If there was a camera filming that room, filming the people in that room, we don't know who the fucking main character of that movie is yet. This is an analogy I haven't made for a couple of years, so I'm trying here. So bear with me. This is a movie that we don't even know who the main character of that movie is yet. And if you never even put yourself in the game and you never approach that girl and you never spike that tension, you're not in the game. You're the fucking extra in that movie. At the end of the day, nobody remembers who the extras are. They don't even get paid to show up on set, right? They're just the extra. So if you want to be an extra in life, continue to not approach the girls and not create your own destiny and not take action on the stuff that we talk about here on Raw Dating Advice. But if you want to be in the main character of your movie and you want your movie to be fucking badass, and you want it to be a wild ride, you want it to be an amazing adventure that when you are on your deathbed, moments away from your last breath, you're not surrounded by ugly ass nurses who don't give a shit about you. You're surrounded by your hot ass wife, your amazing looking children who are amazingly successful, and you're looking back on your life not thinking, God, what the fuck did I do? What if I had actually taken action? What if I had listened to Patrick back in 2019? You're not going to be thinking what if. You're going to be thinking, damn, I did it right? And if you want that to be your fucking future, then take action right now. And secondly, if you want my help with this, obviously subscribe to the Raw Dating Advice family by hitting that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for days just like this, to where I had to deviate from our natural upload schedule and actually just go live and deliver value to you because I didn't have time to edit the video and upload it today. But secondly, if you also want my help a little bit further, I highly recommend grabbing my book, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl. It literally contains all 107 proven ways that I know how to create sexual tension in conversation with a girl and get her chasing you in conversation and get her to keep that attraction for you over the long haul. That way you can guide this wherever you want. Add her to your rotation of girls or make her your long-term committed girlfriend. Wherever you want to lead it, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl will give you the tools to do that. So to get that book, just follow the link in the description. It's howtogetthegirlnow.com. The book's free, just covers shipping and handling. We'll ship this book to you anywhere in the world. Or if you live in a third world country or India or Indonesia or something like that, you can get the ebook. The ebook's just $5, which is actually less than what it costs to get shipping and handling shipped over to India anyways. So that said, last thing here, if you guys are interested in coming up to our upcoming September bootcamp experience, it's only going to be 30 guys, no cameras, no recording, invite only. And because it's such a limited amount of space, I want to make sure that we get the right guys in there. So if you're interested in diving deeper with me and really just working with me in person and me helping you reach the goals that you want in your dating life, this event is going to be perfect for you. But like I said, I want to make sure we get the right 30 guys in there because the event, this bootcamp, is going to be tailored to all the 30 guys who come, literally specifically tailored to their lives. And so I want to make sure we get the right guys in there. If you're interested, shoot an email to rawdatingadvice@gmail.com and just let us know that you're interested in the September bootcamp, and then we will chat and make sure that you're a good fit. And if you're a good fit, then we'll plan on seeing you there in September. That said, I'm going to get out of here, man. I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace out. Peace out.